Welcome to lesson 1.4, working with negative exponents. Okay, we're going to go directly to the chart. It starts off by giving us an example of 2 to the 3 divided by 2 to the 5. So the bases match, and we're dividing, so that means we're going to subtract the exponent, so we would get 2 to the minus 2. That would be what the exponent Rob would give us. But if we were to write it out old school, we'd have 2 to the 2 to the 2 over 2 to the 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. If we were to cancel, we'd be left with 1 up top and 2 times 2 on the bottom, which would be the same as 1 to 2 squared on the bottom. Let's check out another one. Trying to trick you here is just 5, but really it's 5 to a ghosty 1. So that would be 5 to the 1 minus 5. Following the exponent law, we would get 5 to the minus 4. If we go old school, 5 up top, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. We get one pair that cancels out, but we'd be left with a 1 up top and 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 down low, which is the same as 1 over 5 to the 4. Now if you look here, and then you look here, you might be getting an idea of how we can write negative exponents. But we're going to do at least one more to see if we can make sure we've got it. So the bases match. They're both minus 3. Negative 3, so we subtract the exponents because we're dividing. So we would get negative 3 to the negative 3. Writing this out old school is going to be a little more annoying because of the 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We cancel. We're left with a 1 up top. And we're left with 1, 2, 3. So if I were to write them really small, it'd look like that. But it's easier to write it as 1 over minus 3 to the 3. So for now, I'm going to skip the one with the fractions because I want to go to this general one here and see if you've figured it out yet. When we have a negative exponent, somehow it looks like we take our number. If it was up top, it goes down low. If it was in the numerator, it goes in the denominator, and the exponent becomes positive. So let's try this one. X to the 5 divided by x to the 9, so that it would be x to the 5 minus 9, or x to the minus 4. I hope that you could now follow the pattern, and we can write this as 1 over, because we'd cancel out everything up top, and we'd left with 4 x's down low. So I could write that as x to the 4. So if we write it with letters all instead of any numbers, so x to the m minus n. Well, no, that's not really a good one either. We're going to leave that. And we're going to go and look at this all from another way, negative exponents. So 2 to the 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 to the 2 is 2 times 2. 2 to the 1 is 2. 2 to the 0, well, we figured out last time that anything to the 0 is just 1. 2 to the 1 half. Let's stop. We can now figure out it might be 1 over 2, but let's look at what happens in this table each time. Each time, 2 times 2 times 2, that would be 8. That would be 4. Each time we're dividing by 2. Dividing by 2, because that was 8, that's 4, that's 2, that's 1. So each step, dividing by 2. So if I took 1 and divided it by 2, that's the same as 0.5 or 1 half. And then if you think of a drawing where you have half of something, and then you do half of that half, that's going to be 1/4, which would be the same as 1 over 2 times 2. And then if I cut that in half again with a color, half of that would just be 1/8, which is the same as 1/2 to the 3, or 1/2 times 2 times 2 times 2. But no matter how you do it, if you have a negative exponent, here's our rule. Integer with a negative exponent, we are going to, so if it's some sort of number to our negative exponent, we can write that as 1 over our number to a positive exponent. So we're going to write as a fraction under 1 with a positive exponent. All right. Now, law 9 says fractions having negative exponents. We're going to go back to the table. Remember, we skipped that fraction. So I'm going back up to our fraction. If we were to write this, that's not how I want to show you. I'm going to do it in this space right here. If I had the number 4/9, to the -2. Here's how I want you to think about it. That -2, it's going to apply to the top and the bottom. Okay? So that would mean it's the same as 4 to the -2 over 9 to the -2. So we know that 4 to the -2, we know that this part here, 4 to the -2 is going to equal 1 over 4 squared. So it was up top, because that's really over a ghosty 1, right? It was up top and it went down to the bottom. The trick here, and I can explain it more in class if you want to know why it works, for 9 to the -2, if I had 1 over 9 to the -2, it was down low, it's going to move up top. So it's going to be 9 squared over 1. So the final answer for this one would be 9 squared over 4 squared. So the rule is going to be, if you have a fraction to a negative exponent, you are going to flip it and turn the exponent positive. And so this works anytime. It doesn't just have to be when the numerator is 1. So if we have a over b to the negative exponent, that's going to be the same as b over a, still with the brackets, but now to the positive exponent, which would be b to that positive exponent over a to that positive exponent. So in words, we would say we will flip the fraction upside down and change the exponent to positive. All right, let's practice this. 3 to the -4, well, it was up top. We're going to put it down low with a positive exponent. -2 to the -3, 1 up top. -2 down low, now to a +3. But remember, we can't have a negative base in our final answer. So right here, we've got a negative base. And we've got this exponent is odd. That means our final answer is going to be negative. So we could write that as 1 over -2 to the 3. But in general, we pop the negative sign up top. So it's -1 over 2/3. So I'm just going to write move negative sign to top of fraction. That's just the convention. Okay, -4 to the -2. This minus sign out front is going to stay out front no matter what. So when I write equals, it's going to be equals minus something. 4 to the minus 2 is going to give me 1 over 4. The negative becomes a positive exponent. Question 4, r to the minus w, 1 over r to the positive exponent. See if you can guess what this one is before I write it. We had a 2 to the negative 3 in the bottom. But remember, if it's negative exponent in the bottom, it's just going to jump up top. So we're going to have the 1 still up there times 2 now to the positive 3, which just gives me 2 to the 3. So question 6 is going to be similar. The 1 is up top. We've got a negative exponent in the bottom. It's going to pop up top. So the 1 was already there times negative 3 now to the positive 4. But we've got that negative base again. This number is even. Our exponent is even. So our final answer is going to be positive. So it's going to be 1 times 3 to the 4, which is just 3 to the 4. So all the stuff we learned before is sort of coming back, and we got to remember to keep using it. 1 over 4, the whole thing to the minus 2. Well, fractions are easy. We just flip it. So when we flip it, it turns into 4 over 1 squared, which is just 4 squared. Remember, we're going to do that sort of distribute thing. So 4 squared over 1 squared. 1 squared is just 1, so we could just write this as 4 squared. So for 8, we're going to flip it. So 6 over 1 to the 3. We're going to distribute that 3 onto the 6 and onto the 1. So I get 6 to the 3 over 1 to the 3, but 1 to the 3 is just 1, and dividing by 1 will just give me 6 to the 3. Common mistakes with negative exponents. I'm not even going to point them out, because if I show them to you, someone's going to do them. So all we need to remember is if we have a negative exponent up top, it's going to move down below. And if we have a negative exponent down below, it's going to move up top. And here's the classwork that we're going to work on together. If you have any questions about what I did, remember to ask me in class. Thanks for watching.